there comes a time when the mirror won't lie. A time when the silence in your soul speaks louder than the world outside. And in that moment, you will know not the truth others tell you, but the truth you've told yourself. See, it's easy to fool the world. Smile when you're broken. Nod when you don't understand. Say, I'm fine when you're unraveling at the seams. But don't you cheat yourself. There is a truth, ancient as time itself, carved into the bones of this earth and whispered in the winds that move the seas. You cannot outrun yourself. No matter how fast you move, no matter how many masks you wear, no matter how many sweet lies you tell yourself to make the bitter ones easier to swallow sooner or later, you will meet yourself, face to face, soul to soul. And in that moment, the truth will not blink. See, the world will let you pretend. It will clap when you perform. It will nod when you conform. It will pay you for your silence, reward you for your compromise, and tell you that blending in is the same as belonging. But the world does not have to live with you at night. The world does not have to lie in your bed, wrapped in the sheets of your half-lived dreams. You do. So let me ask you, what have you been running from? What corners of yourself have you swept under the rug, hoping that if you ignore them long enough, they will disappear? Maybe it's that gift you were too afraid to pursue. The voice inside you that said you were made for more, but you hushed it, buried it beneath the noise of expectation. Maybe it's that love you didn't fight for, because fear told you it was safer to let go. Maybe it's the truth you swallowed so many times that you have forgotten how to taste honesty at all. But here's the thing about truth, it does not die just because you pretend it isn't there. It waits. It lingers in the quiet spaces of your life, in the sighs between conversations, in the ache you feel when no one is watching. It is patient. It will wait until the day comes when you have no choice but to listen. And on that day, will you be proud, or will you mourn the life you could have lived? Because when you cheat yourself, you lose more than time. You lose trust in your own spirit. You lose the fire in your bones. You lose the version of yourself that could have stood taller, spoken louder, dared to dream a little wilder. So I ask you now, what would happen if you stopped? What would happen if you looked in the mirror and spoke the truth instead of the excuse? What would happen if you walked toward what scares you instead of away from it? What would happen if you gave yourself everything you deserved instead of settling for what was easy? I will tell you, you would burn, you would glow, you would rise in a way that made even the sky wonder how it ever tried to keep you small. Because you were not made to be cheated. You were made to be chosen, be yourself, first and always. So stand up, speak up, show up for the life that is waiting for you. And when the truth knocks, open the door. It's been waiting for you all along. There is a truth, old as the mountains, deep as the ocean's sigh. You cannot outrun yourself. You cannot lie to the mirror and expect it to love you back. You cannot whisper half-truths into the wind and hope they carry you to freedom. No, my dear, the truth is patient. The truth is a shadow that never leaves your heels. It waits in the hush of the night, in the quiet between your thoughts, in the weight of your own heartbeat, knocking against your ribs. And one day you will hear it. Not in the voices of others, not in the noise of the world, but in the silence where your soul stands bare, where all the masks have fallen, where only you remain. And tell me, when that day comes, when you stand before the truth of who you are, will you recognize yourself? Will you be proud? Or will you mourn the pieces of yourself you left behind, the dreams you abandoned in the name of comfort, the love you turned away because fear was easier to hold? Oh, how easy it is to pretend, to smile when you ache, to laugh when you want to weep, to shrink yourself so the world won't feel too small. How easy it is to perform to put on the show, to bow when they applaud, to move through life as if you are not carrying a storm inside you. But don't you cheat yourself. Don't you dare rob yourself of the life you were meant to live. Don't trade your wildness for their approval. Don't silence your voice just because the world is too afraid to listen. Because when you cheat yourself, you lose twice. Once in the moment when you choose the easy way, and again in the future when you look back and realize you were the one who held the knife to your own dreams. The world may not stop you. No one may stand in your way. Because the cruelest kind of betrayal is the kind that comes with no warning, no villain, no enemy, only you holding the pen, writing a story smaller than the one your soul was meant to tell. But hear me now, it is not too late. It is never too late to wake up, to stand up, to reclaim yourself. So look in the mirror and speak the truth instead of the excuse. Walk toward what scares you instead of away from it. Give yourself everything you deserve instead of settling for what is easy. Because you were not made to be cheated. You were made to be chosen by yourself, first and always. So rise. Rise like the sun that does not ask permission to shine. Rise like the river that refuses to be held back. Rise like the soul that finally remembers. You were meant for more. There is a truth, old as time, carved into the marrow of existence. You cannot outrun yourself. You may outrun people. You may outrun responsibilities. You may outrun consequences for a while. But you cannot outrun the truth that lives inside you. No matter how far you go, no matter how deep you bury it, it will rise because truth, like the sun, cannot stay hidden forever. And when it rises, it will ask you a question. Did you honor yourself? Not your reputation, not their expectations, not the version of you they wanted you to be, but you, the real you. And when that moment comes, when you stand in the weight of your own reflection, what will you say? Will you stand tall, knowing you live fully, boldly, honestly? Or will you bow your head, carrying the regret of 1,000 choices made out of fear? I have seen too many people cheat themselves out of the life they were meant to live. I have seen brilliance buried under the weight of self-doubt. I have seen voices silenced before they ever had a chance to sing. I have seen souls shrink, fold, disappear into the cracks of a world that told them, stay small. But I am here to tell you, you were not made to live small. You were not made to walk through life as a shadow of your own potential. You were not given this mind, this heart, this fire inside you, only to smother it beneath excuses. Don't you cheat yourself. Don't trade courage for comfort. Don't water yourself down to make them feel safe. Don't sit in a cage with the door wide open, because every time you settle for less than you deserve, every time you silence your own voice, every time you pretend that fine is the same as fulfilled, you chip away at yourself. And one day, you will wake up and wonder where you went. One day, you will look in the mirror and realize you are only a fraction of who you were meant to be. Not because life took it from you. Not because others stole it from you, but because you gave it away. You were made for more. You were made to rise. You were made to speak with the full strength of your voice, to walk with the full power of your purpose, to live in the fullness of who you are without apology. So ask yourself right here, right now, what parts of you have you been neglecting? What dreams have you abandoned because the road was too steep? What truths have you swallowed because you were afraid they would make others uncomfortable? And tell me, when will you stop running? Because the life you want, the life you deserve, will not wait forever. The version of you that is whole, that is unshaken, that is free, is waiting for you to choose it. So stop dimming your light. Stop making excuses. Stop betraying yourself in quiet ways and calling it sacrifice. Stand up, speak up. Show up for yourself fully and fearlessly. And when the truth knocks at your door, open it. It's been waiting for you all along. There will come a day when the noise of the world fades, a day when the applause dies down, the masks slip away, and you are left with nothing but yourself. No distractions, no justifications, no more pretending. And on that day, you will have to answer one question. Did you live fully? Not just exist, not just survive, but live. Live in a way that set your soul on fire. Live in a way that made you proud. Live in a way that when the final chapter of your story is written, you would not wish for one more page just to rewrite your regrets. But here's the truth. So many of us cheat ourselves out of life before we ever reach that day. Not because we mean to, not because we want to, but because fear is a patient thief and self-doubt is a quiet poison. We silence our own voices. We dim our own light. We tell ourselves, not yet, not me, not this time. We trade our dreams for security. We choose comfort over courage. We shrink ourselves to fit into spaces too small for our greatness. And each time we do, we lose a little more of who we are. But hear me now. You cannot lie to your own soul. You cannot make excuses to your own reflection. You cannot look into your own eyes and pretend you do not know what you were meant to become. So tell me, how many times have you stood on the edge of something greater only to step back? How many times have you held a dream in your hands? How many times have you swallowed your own voice just to make someone else comfortable? And tell me, how long will you keep doing it? Because the thing about cheating yourself is that no one stops you. There is no alarm that sounds. No hands that grab you and say, wait, you are making a mistake. No warning sign flashing in the sky. Number. When you cheat yourself, life keeps moving. The world does not mourn the dreams you abandon. The clock does not pause for the chances you let pass. The only person who feels the weight of your unspoken truths, your unlived potential, your unfulfilled destiny is you. And one day, you will feel it all at once. In the quiet of a sleepless night, in the stillness of an empty room, in the reflection of a life that could have been more. And I do not want that for you. I want you to wake up to your own power. I want you to claim every piece of yourself you have been hiding. I want you to look in the mirror and see a person who never settled, who never silenced, who never shrank to make the world more comfortable. Because you were not made to be small. You were not made to be silent. You were not made to live a life that fits neatly into someone else's expectations. So rise. Rise with every dream you have ever let slip through your fingers. Rise with every ounce of courage you have buried beneath fear. Rise for the version of yourself that is still waiting, still hoping, still believing that you will finally say, yes. Yes to the life you deserve. Yes to the truth that has always lived inside you. Yes to the power that has always been yours. Because when you choose yourself, when you stand tall in the fullness of your being, when you refuse to cheat yourself out of even an inch of your greatness, the world will have no choice but to make room for you. So do not wait. Do not waste one more moment living as a fraction of yourself. Do not let fear write the ending to a story that was always meant to be bold. Choose yourself. Choose your truth. Choose the life that has been waiting for you all along. And when that final day comes, when the noise has faded and only you remain, may you stand in the weight of your own existence and know you lived. There will come a day when you stand alone with your own reflection. No audience, no applause, no excuses, just you, your choices, and the life you built her, the life you let slip away. And on that day, there will be no one left to blame. Not your parents, not your teachers, not the world, not society, not the hand you were dealt. It will just be you and the truth. Did you show up for yourself? Or did you cheat yourself out of the life you were meant to live? Because hear me now, no one can cheat you out of your destiny but you. People can doubt you. People can discourage you. People can tell you you're not enough, not ready, not worthy. But they cannot stop you unless you let them. And too many people do. Too many people spend their lives waiting, waiting for permission, waiting for the right time, waiting for someone to come along and say, you are worthy now, you are ready now, you can start now. But life does not work that way. No one is coming to hand you the life you dream of. No one is coming to rescue you from your own hesitation. No one is going to fight for your future harder than you. So tell me, when will you stop waiting? When will you stop pointing at your past, your circumstances, your fears, and start pointing at yourself? Because at the end of the day, that is where the power has always been. You decide how much effort you give. You decide how much courage you show. You decide whether you rise or whether you settle. No one is holding you back but the person staring at you in the mirror. And that is a hard truth. But it is also a freeing one. Because if you are the problem, then you are also the solution. If you have been standing in your own way, then you have the power to step aside and finally move forward. So what will it be? Will you keep making excuses? Keep telling yourself you'll start next year, next time, next lifetime? Keep waiting for a sign when every breath you take is already proof that you were made for more? Or will you take responsibility? Will you own your choices, your effort, your results? Will you stop cheating yourself out of what you were meant to become? Because let me tell you something, life will give you what you demand of it. Nothing more, nothing less. If you ask for the bare minimum, if you settle for what is easy, if you put in half the effort and expect the full reward, life will not argue with you. But if you stand up and say, I want more, I deserve more, I will become more, then life will have no choice but to rise to meet you. You are responsible for your own greatness. You are responsible for your own healing. You are responsible for your own happiness. No one is going to do it for you. No one is going to save you from a life of regret. You must do that for yourself. So let today be the day you stop waiting. Let today be the day you stop settling. Let today be the day you stop cheating yourself out of a life that was always meant to be yours. Because one day you will look back, and the only person you will have to answer to is the one looking back at you in the mirror. Make sure they can say, I did not cheat myself. I gave everything I had. I lived fully. I have no regrets. Make sure that person is proud. There comes a time in every life when the noise fades, the distractions disappear, and you are left with nothing but the choices you have made. Not the choices they made for you. Not the choices the world pushed upon you. Not the choices that felt easiest in the moment, but your choices. And when that moment comes, when you stand before your own reflection, there will be no hiding, no bargaining, no justifying. Only the truth of what you have done with the time you were given. So ask yourself now, while there is still time, because life is patient, but it does not wait forever. And every day you delay, every time you choose fear over faith, every excuse you make is a step further from the life you were meant to live. Cheating yourself does not happen all at once. It happens in small moments, in tiny decisions, in silent compromises. It happens when you hold your tongue when you should speak. It happens when you stay in places that no longer serve you. It happens when you let doubt write the story of your life. At first, you might not even notice. You tell yourself, it's just this once. I'll try later. I'm not ready. But later turns into years. And one day, you wake up and wonder where the time went, where the passion went, where you went. And here is the most painful truth of all. Life does not return what you waste. You cannot buy back the years. You cannot undo the opportunities you ignored. You cannot rewrite the chapters you refuse to live. People spend lifetimes blaming the world for their unfulfilled dreams, blaming their past, blaming their circumstances, blaming the people who doubted them, who hurt them, who walked away. And yes, maybe life has been unfair. Maybe the odds were stacked against you. Maybe people betrayed you, underestimated you, tried to break you. But tell me this, how long will you let that be your excuse? How long will you let the past dictate your future? How long will you allow what happened to you to stop you from choosing what happens next? Because at the end of the day, the only thing standing between you and the life you want is you. It's not your past. It's not your fears. It's not the voices that told you you can't. It's the choice you make today to show up, to try, to demand more of yourself than you ever have before. Because your future is not determined by what happened to you. It is determined by what you decide to do next. The life you deserve will not chase you. Some people go through life waiting for the right time, waiting for the right circumstances, waiting for someone to come along and hand them the life they dream of. But hear me now, the life you deserve will not chase you. It will not knock on your door and beg you to take it. It will not fight for you if you do not fight for it. If you do not claim it, it will belong to someone else. Someone who showed up, someone who believed in themselves, someone who refused to cheat themselves out of the greatness they were meant for. So the question is, will you be that person? Will you be the one who refuses to settle? Will you be the one who demands more? Will you be the one who, when life knocks you down, gets up and says, I am not done yet? Because if you will not fight for yourself, who will? One day, you will take your last breath. One day, your name will only be spoken in memories. One day, your time here will come to an end. And on that day, what will they say about you? Will they say you lived boldly? Will they say you chased every dream, took every risk, fought every battle? Will they say you lived so fully that the world felt the impact of your existence? Or will they say you played it safe, that you had the potential for greatness but never dared to claim it? That you let fear, doubt, and excuses steal the life that could have been yours? Because let me tell you something, your legacy is being written right now in the choices you make today, in the way you show up for yourself, in the moments where you decide, I will not cheat myself, I will rise. The time is now. No more excuses, no more waiting, no more playing small. The time is now. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when it's convenient. Now, so stand up, step forward, walk into the life that is waiting for you. Because when the final chapter is written, when all is said and done, when you take your last breath, make sure you can say, I did not cheat myself. I lived fully, boldly, without regret.